Alright, so this section or this data set is talking about to rebuild or not to rebuild. So you're going to answer the question, what did the U.S. want, what did the Soviets want, and what did they compromise? And just like in the last set, you're going to decide which does this article support. Does it say that the U.S. was at fault for the Cold War or the Soviet Union? So here's a picture of Churchill. Remember, he's a leader of Great Britain. Here is Truman, our president after World War II, and Stalin, the leader of the Soviet Union. So on July 25th, 1945, 2 months after Germany had surrendered, the Big Three, Winston Churchill, Joseph Stalin, and Harry Truman, met at the Potsdam Conference in order to discuss the fate of Germany. By 1945, Stalin was the veteran revolutionary, a man who had held the reins of Soviet power and authority for nearly 20 years. Truman, on the other hand, had been president barely 3 months. Remember, FDR had died and he had just taken over. The crucial issue at Potsdam was, as it had been in Versailles in 1918 and 1919, was reparations. So remember, the Treaty of Versailles was after World War I, and that's where we blamed Germany for the entire war. So they had to kind of keep that in mind as they were making a treaty after World War II. The Soviet Union, as to be expected, wanted to rebuild their near-destroyed economy using German industry. The United States feared it would have to pay the whole cost of rebuilding Germany, which in turn would help rebuild the Soviet Union. So after all the discussions had ended, a compromise was reached, and Germany was to be partitioned into 4 occupied zones. So they were going to split Germany up. Britain, France, and the United States would occupy parts of Western Germany, while the Soviet Union would occupy East Germany. So kind of interesting that France, Britain, and the United States had to share, and Soviet Union got its own little section. The main issue at Potsdam and for the next 2 years was who would control Europe. Britain had its chance, so did France and Germany. Was it now Russia's turn, or perhaps the United States? The American government had always boasted that nations should have the right to choose their own form of government while pushing democracy wherever possible. The Soviets viewed this demand as unacceptable, for it indicated that the United States was really taking too heavy a hand in determining what nations ought to adopt what specific form of government. The struggle over the control of Europe remained a key issue in the talks, I think is what it was going to say. Alright, so answer those questions and let us know if you have any questions about this one.